So guys, we're back with another video. This is the fight against poverty. My name is Nikita Smith, and this episode is called Reconstructing Congress. And again, I went with the PowerPoint presentation. I feel like this is the best to incorporate information, videos, and etc. I'm just learning as I go, and I'm having fun with it. So this is Reconstructing Congress. I chose that title because I definitely feel that Congress should be reconstructed, or at least the way we pass laws should be reconstructed. And that's basically the function of Congress, to make laws, and we're going to find out what their functions are, what power they have, and what it is exactly. And we're just going to go through it, the process of making a law, and etc. So let's dive into it. So, what is the United States Congress and its powers? Definition: Congress is the legislative branch of the federal government that represents the American people and makes the nation's laws. It shares power with the executive branch led by the president and the judicial branch, whose highest body is the Supreme Court of the United States. Their powers: make laws, declare war, raise and provide public money, and oversee its proper expenditure, impeach and try federal officers, approve appointments, approve treaty negotiations. I'm guessing with the executive branch, my screen is right there, and oversight and investigation. So that's the powers of Congress, and as you can see, they do a lot. They do a lot. I think it's a bit much. Um, I, I'm gonna say I think the people should suggest laws as a whole, like we vote, and like you just vote on certain. They give us things to vote on, and how can they do this? They can send out things in the mail. What would you like to be included in your bill, like in a bill, and we could choose what we wanted instead of them debating about it. Really, it's about the people, and I get the finances part. So maybe keep that aspect of it when it comes to budgeting. But as far as making laws, I think that should be in the people's hands. And it's a larger group. You see, this is a group. That's a lot of people. About it's a couple hundred people in both chambers, and plus the committee, and we're gonna get into all that. But I feel like the people should be in charge of making these new laws. Like I said, they can send out things that they uh, are debating against, and then leave it up to the people to decide which ones to actually pick and see if it fits in with the budget, and go from there. Go from there. But on to the next slide. Fun fact: most democracies in the world today use parliamentary systems as opposed to presidential systems like that used in the United States. A few examples among the many parliamentary democracies are Canada, Great Britain, Italy, Japan, Latvia, the Netherlands, and New Zealand. I was going to dive into what a parliamentary is, but we're talking about Congress. I just thought this was a fun fact that would be interesting. It interested me, so I just put it in my presentation. It's just a fun fact. Process of making laws. The beginning, a bill can be introduced in either chamber of Congress by a senator or a representative who sponsors it. The president can approve the bill and sign it into law, or not approve, veto a bill. If the president chooses to veto a bill, in most cases, Congress can vote to override that veto, and the bill becomes a law. Possibilities: if law has passed both chambers. Filibuster. president veto or Congress can override the president's veto. So already there's a lot of confusion. A filibuster is like I think I get into it later. But a filibuster is basically where the Senate can block uh, block a bill. It's where they can block a bill. They have the opportunity to block a bill. I don't want to speak too soon because it is in my presentation, but it's basically where they can block a bill even if it passed the House. So you got you got division already. If this is possible, of course someone's going to use it if they don't agree with something. And not everybody has the same agenda in Congress. So even though they are elected officials and they support it, they have to support the president's. I don't know what to call it, but his plan. They have to support his plan and whatever comes with it. So already is division. Like a filibuster is a big one, and I'm gonna hit on it later in this video. But yeah, that's the process of making a law. And then we have more the committee. This is long, and I'm gonna leave it up. I'm gonna read it with y'all. Usually, the first step in the process is a public hearing where the committee members hear witnesses representing various viewpoints on the measure. Each committee makes public the date, place, and subject of the hearing it, conducts a transcript of the testimony taken at a hearing is made available for inspection in the committee office, and frequently the complete transcript is printed and distributed by the committee. After hearings are completed, the bill is considered in session that is popularly known as the markup session. Members of the committee study the viewpoints presented in detail. Amendments may be offered to the bill, and the committee members vote to accept or reject these changes. This process can take place at either the subcommittee level or the full committee level or at both. Hearings and markup sessions are steps noted in the legislative action portion of bill status. At the conclusion of deliberation, a vote of committee or subcommittee members is taken to determine what action to take on the measure. It can be reported with or without amendment or table, which means no further action on it will occur. If the committee has approved extensive amendments, they may decide to report a new bill incorporating all the amendments. This is known as a clean bill, which will have a new number. So basically, like we read, uh, a politician sponsors a bill and it gets sent to the committee and they do their own thing with it and it's going through the idea is going through all these hands. So that's something, and I know everyone prefer the masses' hands, the people's hands, and figuring out what bills they want and what they want incorporated in bills and such. Maybe the president should set the price limit and and they they do the pricing. They do the pricing. How much money they want to give to our new laws that they want to enact and stuff like that for welfare systems, for Social Security and all that and just everything to the corporations, everything. They set that and we just make up the laws, the people. I mean, us together as a group outnumbers them. More minds than them is, what I'm saying? It's probably more smart people not in Congress, that are of the same age. So we really don't have to be of age. I mean, ask people 21 through whatever. Send it in the mail and okay, what law should we have? You have these options. You have these options. Pick these options wisely. And we send it back in and we do it that way. I think to me, I just came up with that on the spot, and I think that's a good idea. I don't believe Congress should be handling. It's too much stress because, especially now with the pandemic, it's like people want one thing, but they're on some complete other things. Both parties, both parties, the Senate and the House of Representatives. So we're gonna talk about more, the House and the Senate in a minute. On to the next slide. Who votes first on the law? Oh wait, who votes first on a law first? Okay, we're gonna go with that. Not perfect. House of Representatives. If released by the committee, the bill is put on a calendar to be voted on, debated, or amended. If the bill passes by simply majority 218 of 435, the bill moves to the Senate. Like I said, it's a lot of seats. It's a lot of seats. Um, 218 to 435 people, and it's a selected group. It's elected officials. So in the Senate, the bill is assigned to another committee, and if released, debated and voted on. The bill is assigned to another committee, and if again a simple majority, 51 of 100, passes the bill, and you notice that the Senate is smaller. I guess because I really don't know why that is. Probably got to look that one up. Uh, Maybe more Democratic states, I believe. That's something interesting that I should have included, but I'm not sure why that is. That they only have 100 seats and the House of Representatives has 435. But yeah, if released by the committee and they vote on it, and it needs 218 people to agree with it. And then it goes to the Senate, and they need 51 people out of 100 to approve that. That's just if we pass a law, a bill with laws in it, and different things, stimulus packages, etc. On to the next slide. Finally, a conference committee made of House and Senate members works out any differences between the House and Senate versions of the bill. The resulting bill returns to the House and Senate for final approval. The government printing office prints the revised bill in a process called enrolling. The president has 10 days to sign or veto the enrolled bill. 10 days to sign or veto the bill, and if he vetoes it, Congress gets it back and they can override it. We learned that earlier. So these are the things. Um, this is the process of bringing these laws about. The Civil Rights Act. We're going to talk about that in this video. How uh, a senator tried to block it. I don't know what state. I forget, but I think it's in my video. I know his name. Storm uh, Thurman. That's his name. Spoke for 24 hours. But we're going to get to that. We are going to get to that. But yeah, they can filibuster. All this is, and it can hold up the process for months. Months. It's called deadlock. We're going to talk about that too. So let's get into this next slide. It's about to get interesting, y'all. So, when and why does Congress use reconciliation? So, reconciliation, we're going to talk about that. Let's talk about it. Reconciliation is essentially a way for Congress to enact legislation on taxes, spending, and the debt limit with only a majority 51 or 50 if the vice president breaks a tie. In the Senate, avoiding the threat of a filibuster. We're going to talk about a filibuster in a little bit, which requires 60 votes to overcome. It requires 60 votes to overcome a filibuster. Because Democrats have 50 seats in the Senate, plus a Democratic vice president, reconciliation is a way to get a tax and spending bill to the president's desk, even if all 50 Republicans oppose it. So, yeah. This reconciliation is a way to enact legislation on taxes, spending, the spending part of it. And this a lot of times, like they said, currently the the um, the vice president Kamala Harris broke broke a tie to get a bill passed, and that was a reconciliation, a example of reconciliation, and that's recent, you know. So I'm gonna read this. Okay, we're gonna talk about the Civil Rights Act. Southern Democrats used filibuster to kill anti-legislation for numerous times. In 1957, the Democratic Senator Strom Thurmond even performed a record-breaking speaking filibuster, which lasted for an uninterpreted 24 hours and 18 minutes in opposition to the 1957 Civil Rights Act. Not until 2018 did the Senate pass an anti-lynching bill for the first time in 2010. In the Dream Development Relief and Education for Alien Minors Act died in the Senate due to a filibuster, destroying Dreamers' hopes that they could obtain permanent relief from deportation. Nearly 1.5 million documented immigrants in the U.S. still can't call the country they live in home. So we got two examples of filibusters, and there's the Senate pass. But what got me is that how long it took. This is the length due to that, due to they did not pass an anti-lynching bill until 2018. That is far from when that happened. That is far, even before. Southern Democrats used filibuster to kill anti-lynching legislation for numerous times. They tried to use filibuster to kill anti-lynching for numerous times, so they killed it. It didn't get through until 2018. Lynching was back a long time ago, more than 50 years ago, from 2018. More than 50 years, more than likely. But we're going to get back to John Thurmond, a 24-hour, 18 minutes in opposition to the 1957 Civil Rights Act. They said, I watched the YouTube video, they said he had to pee in a bucket. He only got one bathroom break and they brought a bucket to the floor just for him, for his opposition of the Civil Rights Act. That shocked me. That, when I tell you, I did not learn that in high school or whatever, grade school, I didn't learn it. That is insane. And it really shows how he was trying to protect the Southern people from integration because he felt that it would damage probably the economy and business and schools, everything. It really shows that some Southern governors were really about that. You know what I'm saying? And I don't get it. I can't even say I get it. That's madness. Just to keep people apart, you spoke 24 a whole day in 18 minutes. And I know they be up late hours Congress, but man, that's insane. That's insane. I'm gonna go to the next. This is just information I got. All my sources gonna be on the last slide, y'all. Let's go to the next slide. So I got more screenshots. I got more screenshots. Ironically, while both parties are fed up with the filibuster deadlock smothering congressional progress, they lack the political will and motivation to thoroughly reform the system. It is the narrow, selfish interests of their party rather than people's interests that dictate political calculations. The Democratic vision of the people, by the people, for the people, has fallen to of the party, by the party, for the party. And that's the part of the article I want to really highlight. That's why I only read that part, because it's true. Because it's very true. It's only about their interests, not the people's interests. So that's why I said we need to switch it to the people instead of these selected few. There's selected few that can get swayed over time. People, yeah, they can get swayed, but at the same time, they're answering a one time or fill in the blank. And that was, you do it ahead of time. You like, let's say we voting for this 2022, we'll be voting for making laws for 2023. Send it out. That way it could be done and do it year after year after year after year after year. And then that's where they get these ideas from. Even have a little make your own law at the bottom. What law would you like to incorporate besides these selected laws that we chose for you? Something like that. But let's read this next one. While U.S. politicians brag about the superiority of their democracy, their country is deviating from the vision of its founding fathers. And that's true. That's true. It's the vision of the founding fathers that has lasted this long, and this is what's kept us stagnant. We haven't, the 2018 anti-lynching bill just came. Stagnant. We've been stagnant. Yeah, it might have not been happening, but Congress did not it got filibustered. The anti-lynching bill got filibustered, preventing the law from anti-lynching. Therefore, it could have been done. It's not against the law. So we were stagnant for that long until 2018, the first anti-lynching bill was passed. It finally got through the Senate. Wow. And at the beginning of that last one, it said they tried many times. Many times. It's crazy. On to the next slide. So this is about Joe Manchin, and this is current times. Why doesn't Manchin support the bill? This is recent in 2020. In 2020, the national poverty rate in the U.S. was 11.4%. In West Virginia, it was nearly 5 points higher at 16%. Manchin says he is very worried that the bill will increase inflation, reduce the reliability of energy grid, and increase our dependence on foreign supply chains. None of these claims were made citing or referencing the specific measures included in the bill. So I'm gonna just read that first one, and then it pretty much goes in order. The Wharton School of Business, a source often cited by Joe Manchin, has reported that what is driving inflation is uncertainty caused by the pandemic, the rapid economic recovery, and ongoing supply chain issues. The group recognizes that the bill could impact consumer demand, but that because of the major shifts currently being seen in the market, changes inflation of a few tenths of percentage will likely be indistinguishable from variation in inflation. Inflation expected whether the legislation is enacted or not. It's not gonna matter why he's blocking the bill. I mean, why he's not on board with the bill. I shouldn't say blocking it, because he's a Democrat as of now. He even said about going to the Senate, but he's not on board, so that's not a vote. And all the other Democrats are on board, or at least enough. And he's just one of, I think it's a handful that are against it, and he's one of them. And they go to him. I don't know why they go to him, but yeah. A different study to examine the impacts of the bill found that the bill's revenue-raising provisions decreased government debt, which offsets some of the negative effects on wages and GDP. The bill is in part paid for by increasing taxes on corporations and the wealthy. Earlier, during the negotiation, Manchin has said he opposed increasing corporate tax seen before Republicans passed the 2017 tax cuts. and Jobs Act. During the pandemic, many corporations have seen record profits, and many more progressive members of Congress believe that those benefits should be shared with their workers and customers, not the shareholders. So as you can see, we have a Congress that's divided, very divided. Even the House of Representatives, it's not even side against side. They're fighting with themselves in the House of Representatives, not the Senate. That's now. So yeah, it's tough. It's tough. It's tough to see. I've been watching it since the pandemic started. That's when I really started paying attention to politics. This is why I'm doing my YouTube. This why I'm dedicating my life to it. It's interesting. It's just interesting, and it definitely should be changes. So we're gonna go to the next slide. Okay. Throughout the last 3 months, I have been straightforward about my concerns that I will not support a reconciliation package that expands social programs and irresponsibly adds, and this is Joe Manchin talking, by the way, 29 trillion in national debt that no one else seems to care about, nor will I support a package that risks hurting American families suffer from historic inflation. Again, it's paid for. It's paid for by corporate tax. So he's saying that again. I think this is a later date. Simply put, I will not support a bill that is consequential without thoroughly understanding the impact it will have on our national debt, our economy, and the American people. Every elected representative needs to know what they are voting for and the impact it has not only on their constituents but the entire country. Wow. And this is him. This is his website, as you can see up here. So, and then we're going to read this one. I got it highlighted. I have worked in good faith for 3 months with President Biden, Leader Schumer, Speaker Pelosi, and my colleagues on the reconciliation bill, and I will continue to do so for the sake of the country. I urge the House to vote and pass bipartisan infrastructure bill. Holding this bill hostage won't work to get my support for a reconciliation bill. So they holding the bill hostage, and it's wrong on both sides. They holding it hostage just get to get his support for the reconciliation, which only needs the Democrats, and he's holding that up because like I said, you know, it only needs the vice president to break the tie, so they don't necessarily need him. But he's saying no to it. He's like, no, I'm not on board with it, basically. And we're gonna go into what he says about Social Security. For example, how can I, in good conscience, vote for a bill that proposes massive expansion to social programs when vital programs like Social Security and Medicare face insolvency and benefits could start to be reduced as soon as 2016 for Medicare and 2033 for Social Security? How does this make sense? It doesn't. Meanwhile, elected leaders continue to ignore exploding inflation, that our national debt continues to grow, and interest payments on the debt will start to rapidly increase when the Fed has to start raising interest rates to try to slow down runaway inflation. So yeah, he's really against passing some of these bills, especially now with the child tax credit. He thinks there should be a work requirement to it, and I just don't agree. I don't agree. I just don't agree. And it's evidence showing that it raised so many people out of poverty, as you can see in my last video. I just don't agree with it. I just don't really agree with it at all, and it's crazy. But this is our Congress. They're so divided. And the next slide is going to be a video of what recently happened when Donald Trump was in office. So let's get to that.
And a second round of $600 COVID relief payments. But the battle on Capitol Hill to raise the amount on those checks has hit yet another roadblock. And this is Kelly O'Donnell is traveling with President up in Florida. She has more on all of that. Kelly, good morning. Good morning, Frank. The fate of increasing those COVID relief payments to $2,000 is unclear this morning, and President Trump is using his Twitter sledgehammer to pressure Republican leader Mitch McConnell. Now, the president from here in Florida and his golf vacation has tweeted Republicans, unless they have a death wish, and it's also the right thing to do, they must approve the $2,000 payment ASAP. But the president is also making other demands that line up with his own personal grievances. That's part of the problem. He wants lawmakers to eliminate liability for social media companies and to set up a commission to examine voter fraud allegations that he's been making. Well, Democrats don't want any part of that, but they are willing to go along with the $2,000 payment. But Mitch McConnell, the Republican leader, has blocked Democrats' effort to vote on that as a standalone choice. And instead, McConnell is packaging the president's wishes into one measure the lawmakers would vote on. And Democrats don't want to do that. And so the next step could be that will end the push for increasing the payments to $2,000. But those $600 payments already approved are in the pipeline, says some of those are already beginning to go out.
Yes, that's the videos, and as you can see, it's very divided in Congress. They can't seem to make up their minds, and one person blocked a payment of $2,000 to get to all Americans, at least who filed their taxes, and it's just not fair for one person just or a few just to be against it and it just get rejected like that. And that was a example of filibuster, and this was recent in 2020, and that was when Donald Trump was in office, um, and they blocked it as a standalone, as you just saying, and they ended up doing the $600 payment, stimulus payment. So that's an example of how and why Congress should be reconstructed. I mean, you can have some people against it, some people for it. That's the problem. It should be in the people's hands to make a choice, a decision on their future of what they can do in that time frame. And in this case with COVID, we needed relief at that time, and they chose a cheaper route, which money is money. It helped, but at the end of the day, 2,000. I mean, 600 is not 2,000. So I mean, there you go. So here's my next slide. Check it out. Hope you enjoyed this video. Before I show my sources, I have another source, which is a book, and it's called The Politics of Guaranteed Income, the Nixon Administration and the Family Assistance Plan by Daniel P. Monahan. Basically, the assistance plan was to bring a negative income test, which is similar to universal basic income. The best way to compare it is the amount runs out instead of where it's universal. Universal income stays consistent. You get paid monthly that amount every month. Compared to negative income tax, you get paid, but the amount goes down. So, and that the Senate, there's a reconciliation on the bill, and it was dropped. Actually, it was dropped. So that was the closest we ever probably came to getting close to a guaranteed income or a fixed. Should call it a fixed income. It it got dropped. I'm not sure as to why, but it was having problems in the Senate, the plan. So um, that's hence why they went to reconciliation, and it just was interesting because Nixon was a Republican he's a Republican candidate, and hearing him get it, and then it just dropped. Um, I'm not sure if it dropped in the Senate or what, but more than likely it did. I think in the book it actually says that, so I'm not even gonna go against what I read. Yeah, it got dropped in the Senate, and uh, I looked up if it got filibustered, but I didn't see anything saying that. But it did get dropped, so more than likely the Senate blocked it or had its hands in it before it being dropped, as they do with most bills that are trying to get passed concerning welfare. This was concerning welfare, reforming the welfare system, the assistance plan. And I didn't get through all the book. I read only like a chapter, honestly, and that was enough for me to get this information. So this is a book I got from a library. I interloaned it, but that's all I got. Here are my last few sources. So go check out these websites. These are my sources: House.gov, visit thecapital.gov, globaltimes.cnn, Brookings.edu, and those are my sources. If you guys want to look at them, I'm gonna put them down below as well. So don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. This video is to me it's a good one. I liked it. I liked all the information I brought to it, and hope you guys continue to watch. Have a good one. This is the fight against poverty.